my time so that we don't spend too much time. So I'll quickly share my screen now so that we can proceed. Okay. So once again, you're welcome to today's meeting, and I promise you, you will gain value for your time. Just stay focused and stay in touch. Thank you. So today is the final day of our 3-day webinar. And if you learned something, I want you to kindly give a reaction. Kindly share a reaction. If you've learned something in these past 3 days, kindly show a reaction. Okay, thank you. So that is just a part of it. What we've seen so far is just the tip of the iceberg. And by God's grace today, we'll be able to complete what we've started. So stay with me. Okay. So I believe that if you look at the past 3 days, if you look at yourself 3 days ago, and you look at yourself now, you'll see that there is a difference compared to who you were. And that difference is just getting started, because today we are going to go overboard. We are going to unveil everything. We are going to make sure that knowledge becomes something that is at your fingertips. So 3 days ago, a lot of us were confused. A lot of us, when you hear the concept project writing, you're like, what does this mean? It's not your usual report writing or storytelling or narrative essay. But then by the end of today, and thankfully in the last 2 days, you've been able to gain clarity to the point of understanding what is required of it. So today we are going to write prompts and generate results using prompts for chapter 2 all the way down to your abstract. Yes. And to make sure that this learning is more intuitive, I have set aside a sample document and a sample spreadsheet data, which we'll be using to run data analysis, just to show you how it works. And remember, I made a promise that we'll also be using some AI tools. We are going to explore Vilios AI this evening as well. So just pay attention, and I promise you, you'll get maximum value for your time. Okay, so what we'll be focusing on today is, first of all, we are going to craft prompts for chapter 2 and 3. We are going to also do the same for results, conclusion, and abstracts. And I'm also going to tell us some things on how best to check AI outputs and also understand what it gives as output and how to correct errors. So the next thing we're also going to do, we are going to also share tips on project defense, very important, and also how to answer question and answers in project defense. So that is that. Okay. So what is known and what's unknown, that is what literature review is all about. You define your topic and your field. That is what our prompt is going to contain. Then we're also going to talk about the themes and then the particular theory we want to follow. Is it conceptual theory? Is it conceptual framework? Is it the empirical review, and so on? Then another thing we'll do is that part of what the literature review will do is that it's going to compare and contrast at least 15. That is the minimum. Although during one time, I think it was around 15 to 20. Yes, so 15 to 20 papers are okay for a comparison synthesis. Yeah. And then we're also going to look at a prompt for finding the gap. I've already done that, so we won't be going back to that so that we can save time. I've done many samples on how to find knowledge gap. So that is it. And then our goal is that we're going to at least identify 5 to 7 specific actionable knowledge gaps based on the literature. I've already taught us how to find this, but then we're just going to give a full prompt for a literature review based on a particular topic. Are we together? Okay, so next. So before we move to chapter 3, let's kindly do some practicals so that I will ensure that all of us are following. Okay, so just give me a second so that I can bring out Google Gemini. We are going to use the same topic that we used yesterday so that there will be much clarity. We are going to use the same topic. So we are still going to remain under that same chart. That's what I'm going to bring out now. Okay. So can we see my screen? Okay, okay. So what I'm going to do now, this is the menu. This is what we did yesterday. This is what we did yesterday. So you can see we still have it intact, right? So now we are going to, I'm going to copy a prompt which I have saved somewhere, and we are going to ask AI to write the prompt based on this, right? So I'm going to ask AI to write the prompt based on this. Just give me a second. Okay, so I have my prompt ready. So watch me. So this is where the prompt ends. And let's go back to the top. So this is it. And what we're going to do, since it's the same topic we're dealing with, we're going to remove most of these students' inputs. We don't need it. We've already inserted information about that. So I think up to this point, yeah. Then we might just include the context, which is a backlinking, even though we stated that already, but let's just write it again. Okay, so look at what we'll be looking at: time frame, and then let's add at least 10 to 15 papers. So for those of us whose supervisors may want something recent, we are changing this to 2020. Are we together? Okay, so this is what the task is all about. So let us include one more thing, the in-text citation, so that it will not repeat the same mistake it made. Okay, in-text citation as well. Okay, so let's send and see what the output is. Okay, so I believe we are seeing what this result is giving us now. You see the way it started? It started with a conceptual review, and then it builds on it's thankfully the in-text side, right? Okay, so we can see that now, by the time you copy the output, you are going to realize that this literature review is very small. This literature review is very small. Can you hear me now? Okay, so the content of this literature review is very small. What that means is that in a normal setting, it is not enough. So this is where your wisdom comes into play. For example, let me just give us a hint. An A4 paper contains 250 words per page if it is typed. So if your lecturer or if your supervisor says he or she wants 30 pages, now what you are going to do is you are going to prompt AI and ask for 30 times 250. So if you do the math, that would be 15,000 words, right? So that is what you'll be asking for your literature review. Do you get the point? So with that knowledge, AI would now know that at a point, it's going to get to a point where it will exhaust its limits, and you will now type continue, and it will continue generating outputs. This was one of the ways we survived back then in 2023 when the AI word limit was still 800. There was a time they gave us an assignment, and the assignment was 1.5 page. So the AI character limit was 800 characters, not words. So we had to click on continue for it to continue generating outputs before merging both of them. So just have it at the back of your mind. Unless maybe if you're on a pro version, like I am, you might be able to get other output at once. So, but if you're on a free version, then this is the right thing to do. So we can see that the citations, they're also not too many per se. So one of the things you can do on your own end is to compare across different AI chatbots. Like I said, the reason I just like Gemini is because it is up to date in terms of information. So we have seen how the literature review is done, right? Okay, so I will switch my screen back to our presentation. Okay, so I believe we can see that. Okay, so thank you. Okay, so that is for that now. Let's get back to the order. So we've seen how chapter 2 is being done, right? And I already told us how to sort for knowledge gaps in the different studies, right? So that is another thing to note. And then the next thing here, we talk about chapter 3. So here now, your key elements, the key elements of your prompts are going to contain words talking about your research design. What type of research design do you want? Is it quantitative, which we already explained yesterday? Is it qualitative, or is it mixed? So for sake of recap, quantitative analysis is a type of analysis that involves numbers, right? While qualitative is more or less an established study where you have to deal with demographics, case study, and ethnography, stuff like that. Why mixed is a combination of both. And then we'll talk about population and sample. Most times you may not know the population, but you have a sample size. Population is the whole of your audience, while sample is a fraction of your audience. And then the sampling technique as well. And then we'll talk about the instruments you want to use. You want to describe the instruments you are going to use so that AI will understand what exactly you want. So this is where your own personal study comes into play. So like I told us yesterday, take time to think through what you want to do so that when you're about to do the analysis and methodology, you are not going to stress yourself. This is the only part where critical thinking is required. And critical thinking only becomes effective when you have knowledge of what you are thinking about. So that is why we are actually teaching this. And then the data analysis. Most times, AI models are smart to the point of knowing what type of analysis your topic requires. So this one, you won't have to break a sweat because it understands which analysis is suitable for you in most cases. Just ensure your prompt is very well crafted. So that is it. Okay. So the next thing we're going to see now, we are going to do a prompt for chapter 3. Yes, we're going to do a prompt for chapter 3 now. So just watch me. We're going to do a prompt for chapter 3. Just give me a second and we'll switch back to Google Gemini now in a short while. So we've already established the topic, and that's what we'll be working with until we get to chapter 4, when I will introduce the spreadsheets that I have. It's very, very important so that I will show you what the data looks like, and then we are going to, prompt using Julius AI to get some results. So one of the advice I can give you, if you are maybe a type of person who wants to do the analysis, one of the things you can do now is to start understanding data analysis terminologies, because that is one of the things that will help you in your prompt. So that's one of the things that help in your prompt. If you understand them, it's going to make your analysis smooth. Okay, so right now we are going to switch to Google Gemini. Okay, so I believe we can see the screen. Okay, so yeah, that's by the way. So let's go back to Google Gemini. Now we are going to using this same chat box. So let me say it now. If you are using AI to prompt your research. Two things I want you to note is one, make sure all the prompts are on one chart. For example, the way I came to retrace, to retrieve this particular chart. If I start on a new chart, even though some AI chatbots have that retentive memory, but then if you're using something like Claude, if you start on a new chart, it will treat your topic as something totally new, something that it has not heard of before. So that is for that. It's very important. And then the second thing as well is there is the only work that you are going to do in terms of this is understanding how to edit. Are we together? Is understanding how to edit, and I have tons of resources that are going to help you or guide you on that. Okay, so let's paste our prompt and see what it has for us. So if you observe, you'll see that the AI is smart enough to include the number. Are we together? So the numbering is also there. So that's what makes it, it understands what to follow. First of all, is always the research design. Then the area of the study, of which we've already said is a backlink. It will remember it because we are under the same charts. So that is it. Achievable within 3. And then the location is still a backlinking, so we might not need that. Now, the design that you want to do. So let's say you want to do survey. Are we together? Because for you to include a backlinking civil engineering stakeholders, it means you want to interview them. You want to get feedback. So let's say this thing, descriptive survey. That's the terminology, descriptive survey or questionnaire. So let's use that. Okay, so this is okay. We can now proceed. Then research objectives and questions and hypotheses. We will just ask you to use the one already established. So you see that using AI comes with a lot of wisdom. We've already answered this one, so we might just remove this part. Okay, so this is it. So let's click enter and see what it gives us. If you're a very smart person in AI, one of the things I'll tell you is that a good prompt, especially if you are requesting for something big, requires at least 100 to 200 prompts. I actually crafted the prompt myself. Yeah, I took time to craft the prompt and, order it in the numbering you have seen. So that is it. Okay, so this is the output. This research design adopted for this study, the descriptive survey design. Now, this is a red flag. The moment a lecturer sees this descriptive survey design, we can see here that this particular area of study, let's see what it says. It says the study is located in Abakaliki, the capital city of Ebonyi State. So Google Gemini knows that already. And these are other things it talks about. Are we together? Then the population, are you seeing? So I just say civil engineering stakeholders, and these are them. So anybody that is a registered engineer in any firm in Nigeria, in Ebonyi State, is a stakeholder. Are we together? So it means that for your survey already, you are going to approach these persons. Are we together? So these are the persons. And in most times, you might just want based on what AI is going to give you. Are you seeing? It says sample of 100. You can reduce this to 50, and your supervisor will still approve, because at this point, you are dealing with persons who understand contribution to academic literature. But if you're dealing with students, in most cases, they will insist for 400 Two reasons. Why? Because students are many. Okay, so I said earlier that the red flag is the very first phrase in this output. Remove this thing totally. Remove this particular place I'm going to highlight now. Remove it totally. It screams AI. If anybody that knows how to use AI sees it, they will know that what you did was AI generated. So that is that. And then we come to the point of instrument for data collection. So your survey design is going to contain sections. Section A is the demographic information. For those of us who have seen a questionnaire before, you understand what I'm talking about. Now, secondly, your question will be structured on a 4-point Likert scale. Now, I know that most times neutral options don't actually count, but the reason why they include it is for persons that are not sure of what to respond. Now, I believe that the reason why this AI said 4 is because we are dealing with stakeholders who are well grounded in the field of civil engineering. So that is why it said 4 instead of 5. If you are dealing with students, it will recommend 5 because most times students may not actually understand a questionnaire or a question in a survey. So that is that. And then reliability, it will be established using the test retest method and so on and so forth. All these parts, nobody's going to ask you to defend it. So this particular place where it talks about the results will be correlated using the Cronbach's alpha coefficients. It is a type of test carried out in SPSS. So one of the things I did during my own time was I checked all the books that mention citations and analysis, and I read on them. Yeah, so you can imagine how stressful, but I knew that I was going to carve out a career from there. So that was one of the things that bettered data analysis in academics. So the method of analysis, first of all, is descriptive statistics, mean, median, frequency, and the rest of that, standard deviation. Are we together? So by the time you run all these tests, you are going to get different answers. So you replace all these values, you replace them with your actual answer. Of course, the person that is going to handle this is a data analysis, unless maybe you decide to learn how to do it yourself before the set time. So for this, the SPSS package may not be version 26, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. And then we'll talk about consent, anonymity, all these ones. Now, another red flag. If you look at these ethical considerations, it screams AI again. How do I know? It is in bullet form. This particular ethical consideration should be in narrative form. Are we together? So remove all these numbers and make it narrative. Make it like it is a whole sentence and a paragraph on its own for your own good. Are we together? Yeah. So this is where it ends. And then references and citations. So now, as you are generating each prompt, each chapter, make sure you have a place you are compiling your references. One of the things you can do after compiling it is that you can compile all of them and then use the A to Z option in Microsoft Word to order them in alphabetical order. I hope that is clear. Okay, thank you. So next thing, we're going to move quickly to our chapter 4. Now, this is where the real work is about to start. So let's quickly head over to Julius AI. I want to share something very interesting with us. All right, so this is what Julius AI looks like. Like I told us earlier, Julius AI only gives you 15 prompts per month. Are we together? It only gives you 15 prompts per month. So we're going to do two things. We're going to analyze with Julius AI. Yeah, we're going to analyze with Julius AI, and at the same time, we're going to enter a prompt on Claude. Yes, so this is why you guys are going to understand why I prefer Claude for data analysis. For those of you who saw my posts the other day, so we're going to see what Julius AI has in store for us. Yeah. So, okay. So let me upload the document. It says here add files. I'll upload a file. Okay. So this is where my sample document is. This is where my sample data is. Okay. So we're going to ask Julius AI to analyze the data sets this is very important. Remember, I told us that to get the best of any AI, you have to avoid giving it something generic. The thing no even wait to make I talk finish. You don't begin. So you have to avoid giving it something generic. So we're not just going to say analyze the data set. No, we're not just going to say that. We are going to say specifically what we want. Now, this is a data set I worked for a student in Fugo. So I'm going to enter the prompt based on what was required. So just watch me. This is the prompt I'm going to enter. So this is why it's important for this thing to work. You need to have already done your, data assembling, assembled all your elements, impute them in a spreadsheet, or Word document. Any of it applies, but it is best in a spreadsheet. Are we together? Okay. So okay, so I said here, analyze the data set for the following: the mean, the median, the standard deviation, the ANOVA, and the parametric tests, revealing statistical significance. So we're going to click enter and see what it has for us. Okay. So it is thinking. This is one of the hallmarks of a very good AI. Now, this is why I said it is important for you to understand it. It is running a code now in Python, but you see the output as well. That's the best part. So this works best for PhD and MSc researchers, because most PhD researchers, one of the attributes you should have is that you should have basic knowledge of data analysis. Are we together? So let's see the magic now. Are you seeing the magic? Are you seeing the magic? So first of all, it says here descriptive statistics. This is the mean weight. Yeah, this is this. Let me explain. This particular data set was a data set carried out on checking the weights of rats. Thankfully, Lillian is here, so she should understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, okay. So this is the data set checking the weight of rats. This is the mean, the median. This is the standard deviation. This is the count, and so on. So we now see by group what it means, the breakdown by group. We see that group, the first group, this is their mean, this is their median, this is how it was. There are 5 groups actually, yeah, in that particular data set I analyzed. So interpretation in words, each group has roughly 19 to 20 animals. Group means range around, group means that is the average weight of the rats, range around 121 to 127 grams. And then the standard deviation, so there is moderate spread within each group. Now, are you seeing one way ANOVA across group, F statistic? Now, let's pay attention. There's a reason why after giving us the p-value, it's hard to provide interpretation. So I told us yesterday that statistical significance means that your result is not random. Your result is reliable. Your result is real. So, but when a p-value is above the statistical significance threshold, it means that there is no significant difference in the variables you are comparing. So what it means is that the weight of the rats has nothing, or rather, let me put it this way, that the weight of the rat was not directly affected by what they were fed. So let me add further context. These rat groups, they were fed with different antibiotics. Yes. Please pardon me. Like I said, this is why statistics is very important. It's a core concept. So if you understand some of these things, then you'll be able to do your analysis on your own. But then Julius AI can be a very helpful starter. Are we together? So you enjoy the process the more you attempt. That's why it's always important to start early. So that is it. So this p-value is higher than 0.05, which is always the significance threshold. So it means that it is not statistically significant, which means that there is no correlation between the weights of the rats and the groups. So in other words, the rats, their weights were like random. Are we together? So in your final analysis, the way you are going to include this in your conclusion is that you are going to highlight some factors like maybe the time you fed the rats, the equipment that was used to administer the injections on them. All those kind of things could be things that you will include as your limitations. Are we together? So for those of us that are in engineering, our own is not something like this. It's a whole different thing. If you are doing descriptive statistics, it's a whole different area. Are we together? So if we are doing for a survey, I think I will need to pop out something on that so that we can also make progress. So this is the summary, non significant, and then overall level versus reference, t-test versus AT, and all that. So at the end, you copy this content and choose this content and choose what you want to use. So this is the copy button. You copy, you paste it on your Microsoft Word document, and then from there you sieve out what you need. It copies both the table as well. Are we together? It copies both the table. So this is how advanced AI is. I was sharing with someone who graduated in 2012. He told me that during their own time, they had to queue at the cyber cafe to get their analysis done. So, but this is with the power of AI. All you just need to do is to get your context properly, and you are going to, be on track. So let's quickly move to Claude and do the same thing. Now, the problem I have with Claude is that we may need to use a spreadsheet that's, that's kind of, we're not going to use a spreadsheet. I don't think it accepts spreadsheet. So we'll look for a Word document. So you just give me a little bit of time to assess the ones I have. Okay. Okay. So we are going to look for something that is going to, serve us in the context of what we are dealing with. We are going to look for a Word document. We are going to look for a Word document that is going to serve. Okay, so just give me a second. I think I found one. Okay, just give me a second, please. Okay, so this is one of the jokes that my Claude AI makes fun of all the time. Anytime I just come back, it says Abel returns. Okay, so let's do something quickly now. Okay, let me use a new chart. Let me use a new chart so that we are going to follow along. So now we are going to upload, we are going to add files or photos, any of those. Okay. So we see here body weight sheets, and we are going to enter an instruction, analyze the data for a student in a science related field, providing response for all the required all the required analysis. So that's what we're going to enter now. So we can see the instruction that I included now. Analyze the data for a student in a science-related field and perform an analysis required based on the data available, especially ANOVA and the like. So it already understands what I want. Let's see what the output is going to be. Okay. We're waiting. So are we seeing that? Okay. These are the 4 study groups, and each one had like 3 rats. Yeah. So this is one of the reasons I love Claude. If you copy this output, it's going to show you this table in a clean format compared to other LLMs. Are we seeing? So it also talks about, this is the one-way ANOVA. It talks about the hypothesis. Yes. So we are seeing, and it gives you the same thing that ordinarily, no, this is not Julius AI. This is Claude AI. This is Claude. I use Claude for deep thinking and anything that has to do with advanced analysis because it tends to understand more compared to other LLMs. So look at this conclusion. This is one of the things that would be very important for your chapter 5, for your discussion. You can ask it to answer or give a deep, detailed discussion of its response. This one is just a demo. I'm just showing you guys how it is being done. Claude at the moment does not accept spreadsheets. So if you want to prompt it for a data analysis response, put it in a Word document. So these are the things it does. These are the things it does. These are things that ordinary Claude AI, CLAUDE, Claude AI, Claude AI. So these are the things it does, and so on and so forth. Now, to help you understand better so that you don't become lost, one of the things I would advise you to do is to ask Claude to explain these results to you in a way that you'll be able to defend it like you are 10 to 15 years old. Let's do that. So this is what I instructed it. Explain this result to me. Oh, very good too. Explain this result to me as though I'm 10 years old so that my audience of professors will grasp the reasoning behind my outputs. So this is it. You don't need to explain these things like this. What you just need to do is to read it. And your own brain, your human brain, is going to grasp the understanding in such a way that you can stand before kings and explain your results. Like I said, the key thing about everything regarding projects is not big vocabulary, but rather being able to explain in simple terms. That is what we need in today's world. Are we together? So just read through all these things, and then from there you can formulate what you are going to explain. And when they throw questions at you, you'll be able to answer them. Are we together? Okay, so this is it. And that is just that. So very important things to note, very important areas to note. Every area is as important as the others. So this is where you realize that you are not hiding a negative result. You are presenting promising data that justifies further investigation. Are we together? Thank you. So we're moving on to the next because we have no time. Like I said, today is a lot, and thankfully, the network has been helpful from this end. So switching back to our PowerPoint presentation. Switching back to our PowerPoint presentation. So we're already doing the chapter 4 now. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Once again, confirm if you can see my screen. Okay. Okay. So this is it. Now, we've already done this part where it says provide your raw table, your raw data and tables. Ask for a clear interpretation in plain language. Instruct the AI to connect findings to your research questions. Now, the reason we didn't do this third part is because we used a different, we used a table that was totally different from what we've been prompting so far. So, but in your own case, by the time you've assembled your table and everything, still on the same chat box, like I said, ask AI to connect those findings, and you are going to see some wonderful magic. So the bulk work of this whole thing we are doing is just dependent on you being able to understand plain English to know when AI is hallucinating and when it is generating correct information. So that is it. And chapter 5 is more like the easiest. In fact, chapter 5, I can write it without any prompt. I don't need a master prompt to write chapter 5. But then we'll still demonstrate something so that we'll just give you an understanding of what is involved. But this time around, we are going to use Claude and not Gemini because we did the data analysis in Claude. Are we together? So we're going to use Claude and not Gemini because that's where we did the data analysis on. So that is for that. Very important. Okay. Please just kindly focus so that you'll be able to gain the most out of it. I believe each and every one of us, we have our individual goals coming here. So that is it. So what I'm going to do now, I'll just ask you to assume a topic based on this particular result, and then it will just write a conclusion, recommendation, and future future discussion plans. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so did anyone notice the word play here? I included word counts. Why? Because from previous prompting experiences, I remember one time I prompted AI for a conclusion, and guess what? It gave me conclusion of 7 pages, which is not necessary unless I am writing a PhD. So it gave me a conclusion of 7 pages. So since then, I have realized to be smarter when it comes to prompting for conclusion. And I told us earlier that an average A4 paper has 250 words per page when typed in font size 12 times New Roman. So this data is important for you to know what to ask AI in terms of word counts. So for those of us who are not around, let me just rephrase. If your lecturer says he wants a literature review of 30 pages, what you just need to do is multiply 30 by 250, which is going to give you 15,000, and ask AI to generate a literature review of 15,000 words. And when it reaches its limit, just type continue, and it will continue generating response until it is done with the whole output. Okay, so let's send now, and we're going to see the outcome. So this is what it's going to do. Have you seen? So it has generated a topic already on its own. This is the topic. The aim of just including that topic is so that it will be clear on what it is working on. So this is the conclusion. It has generated every other thing. So you see, this is how good AI is. All you just need to do is to get your context right. Yes. So if you do not understand what context is, the video from the first class, which I dropped in the group chats and also on YouTube, you can go and watch it for further clarity. So this is all that it explains. Now, considering that this is an undergraduate level study, this grammar is too big. It's going to put you in trouble. So what are you going to do? You are going to ask it to refine this grammar so that it will be suitable for an undergraduate study. Are we together? Very important, so that you don't get into trouble trying to explain what you don't know. Send. Let's see the outputs now. So these are some of the tricks that you can use to become smart in AI. You're not going to see this anywhere else because most of the videos you see on YouTube are mostly for PhD and master students. So you're not going to see anywhere telling you to refine your content to suit undergraduate studies. So this is a rare opportunity. It's something that if you are here, you understand that you are making valuable use of your time. All right, so this is the output now. We can decide to copy it. We can decide to copy it here when we are done. Because if you click on publish, it will generate as PDF, which will stress you more. Now, these recommendations change the numbering to something like 5.1 or 5.2. So that is it. Very important. Okay. So this is it. And that's just for that. So while reading this, you can decide to reduce the outputs. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The main thing is that you got something in a language that you can easily explain. Are we together? Okay. So we've been able to see two tools today. The other one I would have showed us, but then it is far more complex, is atlas.ti. For those of us who are in economics or management sciences, it is commonly used there. So, but I wouldn't be working on that today. I think these two are enough. They would serve and cover for every other field. Alternatively, like I said, and I'll keep iterating, get basic knowledge, fundamental knowledge on data analysis terminologies so that your prompt will make more sense. Yeah, your prompt will make more sense when you have more terminologies to your shoulder. So that is for that. Okay. So we're switching back to this. Okay, so confirm if you can still see my screen. All right, okay. So that is for that. So we'll proceed from here. We've done that of the conclusion. Now, a very, very smooth one. I made a promise to us that we are going to see how to write an abstract in seconds. And that's what we are going to do. We are going to write an abstract in seconds. And you are going to see that AI has moved. In times past, if you wanted to do this, you would spend tons and tons of time working on a particular research paper, trying to draft out what is important. But here we are going to do it in seconds, and that is just the joy of it. So let's quickly move to Google Gemini. Doesn't matter which one you're using. The good thing is we are going to upload the file for it to make use of, so that you are going to see how it works. So this is we're going to add a file here. I'm coming. I just need to be sure that I clicked the right thing. Okay. So this is the downloads. So this is a sample project. This is a sample project. I intentionally removed the abstract so that it's going to give us an output for this. Now let me also add that one of the things you can also do here is you can also include the word count. In some institutions, they will tell you that the word count is 250 to 300. In some cases, it's 150 words. So just make sure that you include the word count as well so that you don't go overboard. Okay, so it says here, generate an abstract for the project topic with a, let me erase this. Let me use Word documents. Okay. Okay. So generate an abstract for the documents with a total word count of 200 to 300 words. It should cover all elements of an ideal abstract. This is just a short one. Already AI knows all the elements of an ideal abstract. So let's see what the output is going to give us. So like I said, the key thing is what matters most for you to get the best output is dependent on what you feed the AI chatbots. If you feed it the right thing, Yes, exactly. Abstract is after you've completed your project. It's the last thing you will write, but you are going to feature it before your chapter 1. Are we together? So this is it. The study investigated this is exactly the topic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So your abstract is the last thing you write, but it will be featured before your chapter 1. So this is it. So if you notice there's a structure here, it introduces the topic and the objectives. Then it talks about the methodology in the second paragraph. Then it talks about the result and analysis. And finally, it talks about recommendations. Are we together? So these are elements of an abstract. So I believe that is very clear and self-explanatory. So for the records, how much time were we able to do this? We did this in under 3 minutes. This was something that would cost you 2 hours 2 to 3 years ago. But AI is a thing, and all you just need to do is to understand how to structure your prompts, and you will become. There's no need for citations in abstracts. If your abstract output includes one, remove it. It's going to implicate you. There's no need for citations in abstracts. Thank you. A very good question. Okay. Yeah. So that is by the way. So let's quickly move on. We've seen a lot already. We've seen a lot of things already. We've learned a lot of things already. And like I said earlier, AI is just your assistant. It is your co-pilot. You are not the one. It is not the one doing the work. It is you that is doing the work. So be specific in your prompts, refine outputs, and fact check everything. I have already mentioned this for citation. Don't just copy and paste blindly. Don't trust AI citations. Some topics are so recent and modern that AI may not have information on it. That is why I keep insisting, use Google Gemini. If the output is not satisfactory, use Claude. Compare and contrast. So very important. And then do not skip plagiarism checks. Sometimes you can do some of these checks on your own, but there is a way you are going to, if you are very good in AI prompting and refining, you might not even need to do any of this. During my own time, I only did my check once and it turned out 13%. So which is below the threshold. So that is it. And then common statistical tests. These are some of the tests being done. For those of us who are science students, we have the t-test, we have the ANOVA, we have the correlation, we have the regression. Correlation and regression are grouped as inferential statistics. So your understanding of these terminologies, if your supervisor says, this is what I want in your results, you can use those words, those terminologies in your prompts, and it will give you the desired outputs. I've already explained the 0.05 threshold. So I've already explained it. It means that if your p-value, significance value is less than this, if it is less than, it is statistically significant. Please note, if it is less than, it is statistically significant. But if it's more than, it is insignificant. Statistically significant means that your result is not by chance. It is not random. But statistical insignificance means that your result is a bit random. Now, what do you do when your result is random or statistically insignificant? You can perform other tests. When it doesn't work in ANOVA, you try parametric tests. This is where SPSS comes into play. SPSS and GraphPad Prism. So that is it. And then for your presentation, for those of my students in civil engineering, I've explained this before to you. So you have an advantage. Whenever you are presenting or you are preparing your presentation, it doesn't have to have too many details. Are we together? It doesn't need to have too many details, because the more the details, the more difficult it will be to understand the information you are trying to relate. Keep it simple. Your title slides, the problem and gap. So all these things are things that should be captured in your research. Are we together? So these are things that should be captured in your presentation, because it's going to make it have a better output. Are we together? So that is for that. And then another thing to note is that when you are typing or when you're including words or content for each particular page, it doesn't need to have all the details. Just a few lines is okay, so that you don't cluster everything. Yeah. And then Another thing you can also prepare for in terms of your project is how to answer questions. Yes. First basic step is to understand this form. Why this topic? That's one of the questions you can be asked. Why did you use this methodology? There are many other methodologies. One of the things you can say is that this methodology that you choose, it is suited for your environment, your study area. Yes. When I was doing my analysis, when I was preparing for my project defense and project writing, I discovered a method of analysis known as vector analysis. But then I don't have access to the equipment. The school doesn't have access to the equipment. So I went with something simple, which is basic descriptive survey analysis. Are we together? So these are the things you need to know how to explain. Then the limitations to your study, you have to be honest. There is nothing to hide. Limitations show that your research is authentic. And what would you do differently? This is what you've learned and what you recommend others to do. So I wrote a book and I gave it to one of my mentees one time recently to prepare for his project defense. So it turned out that one of the things I wrote in that book was something that replicated itself in the course of his defense. What happened was that he was asked a question and he used the strategy in the book to answer that question. The question was, why did you use this particular sample for your analysis and your methodology? And he explained that due to the nature of what was available, are we together? Due to the nature of what was available, that was what made him use it. And he got an applause. Now, for most students, they would answer, I don't know. I don't know sounds like you're unserious or you're unwilling to learn. But when you are able to poise your answer, when you are able to structure your answer to show that you've done your research, it makes them validate you more and more. And then if, for example, you have a challenge and let's say, for example, says a valid point, you explain the reason why you chose this method, while also acknowledging the other method's strengths. This is where, like I said earlier, you explain your limitations properly. So that is it, a very, very important aspect. And then this is a checklist for you. I would like you to screenshot this if you can, so that you can be able to, keep it handy when the time comes. I won't go through explaining most of this because most of them are basic level stuff. So that is by the way. So the importance of having this is because it's going to help you prepare properly ahead of time. So just take the screenshots while we move to the next page. Very important. So that's for that. And then the next thing, now we are at the point where we can say, okay, right, we possess the full system, right? We've done it from a point where we knew nothing to a point where we now know a lot. We've explained what the 5-chapter structure is talking about. So that is it. And then, most importantly, this is where I will say that as you have come to the end of this particular journey, another opportunity opens. Another opportunity opens. And this is where I am going to gladly reveal the package that I have for every one of us. Yeah, so I told us earlier that today's class is not something you are going to miss. Today's class is not something you are going to miss. A lot of persons have asked questions. A lot of persons have, had their own reservations about some things. And I told us earlier that today's class is going to be different because we are going to be revealing a lot. So if you are here, I just want you to give me an extra 15 to 20 minutes of your time. There is so much in store for you. All you just need to do is pay attention and you will get the best of what I have in store for you. So just briefly now, I'll be setting up my screen to show us what we have in store for you. Okay. So that's by the way. And if you've come to this point, you realize that 3 days ago, you were skeptical, you were afraid, you were in fear, in doubt of what to do as regards project writing. But now you've become confident. You've become confident in project writing. And I want to let you know that there is so much more that you can do. There is so much more that you can do. Now, this is what I have in store for you. When it comes to the aspect of project writing, sometimes certainty occurs, and at other times there is this writer's block that students experience. But then we're going to solve that. For those of us who have been following since day one, you would agree with me that it is possible to even write your project in less than 14 days, provided that all the other necessary elements get approved in due time. So let's break it down. 3 days have passed by, you've understood the foundation, you've understood the structure, you've seen the demonstration, you are not confused. But then something is missing, and that something is a complete system. Everything, all the prompts from chapter 1 to 5. And there are two parts here. You could either decide to work alone, or you could decide to have a structured step that provides everything for you without having to break a sweat to look for any other resource. And then this is one of the risks of writing projects or asking someone to write projects. I've seen situations. I recall one of my course-mates who did her projects, and by the time she was done, she was having a plagiarism score of 76%. Yes, plagiarism score of 76%. And to show you how bad it is, she paid someone to actually get this project done, and the person was done with it. And by the time she started doing AI checks, each AI check cost 3,000. And she approached me. I was able to reduce that plagiarism score from 76% to 27% before she submitted it for hard binding. So you can see that even though you may have paid someone, you may have overcome the stage of, doing your defense and all that. But when it comes to the plagiarism checks and all that, you have another problem to face. And we're going to overcome that in a simple strategy. Now, one of the things I believe is that when you have a structure, when you have a pattern, just like this class has been from day 1 to 3, it helps you to move fast. It helps you to move fast. And that is what we are going to provide now. So for this evening, I am going to unveil to us 3 packages that will help us stand out. 3 packages that will help us stand out. And before the drum rolls, let me explain what each of these packages stands for. The prompt pilot package is a package that contains all the prompts you need from chapter 1 to the end, and including abstracts. Then it also contains some things on how to be able to identify red flags in AI. The second package is for persons who want to handle analysis on their own. Yes, I wrote books on how to handle analysis, how to identify the test that is ideal for you. So those things are going to guide you, each and every one of them. That is what you get in the second package. Now, the third package, and the most important one, is for persons who don't just want to write their project on their own, but they also need someone that will be able to guide them. They need someone that in the course of writing, they can fall back on and ask questions. And here is the best part. You are going to also get access to not just own this experience, but you are going to also gain access to become an expert. Yes, because the structure is such that we are going to train you not just to write your project, but to own the skill of teaching others both project writing, prompt pilot, and data analysis as well. So let us break them down further. Now, for the first package, as you can see here, this is what you are going to get. Your thesis blueprints, all the templates, all the prompts from chapter 1 to 5. And you and I both agree that when it comes to project writing, it is not an easy task. So when I place it at the value of 10,000, it is because I want to make it affordable, right? And then we now come to AI topic finding pack, where you can use this prompt to generate your topic. Now, if you recall, we already did this in day 1, but this particular prompt, it has 3 different prompts that you can use to choose your topic. And then we also have the one you can use to create your proposal. Now, before you breathe out and breathe in again, let me just tell you that nobody is going to sell it to you at this price. No. Because one, I understand that all of us are students, right? Nobody's going to sell it to you at this price. So, but I want to do something very drastic that is going to shock a lot of us. Now, for the second package, this is what you are going to get. You are going to get everything related to data analysis, 4 of my books in that concept. You are going to also get everything in package 1. And in addition to that, you will get a document showing you the list of top AI research tools, their strengths and their weaknesses, and also a guide on how to choose the correct test for your analysis. The total value of everything you're seeing here is 40,000 naira. But, very important, this is what I want to do. Sounds crazy, right? Yeah. So for this night, from now till 6 a.m. tomorrow, you are going to get everything in package 1 for 5,000 naira only. Everything in package 2 for 9,500 naira only. That is what I am giving as my own Christmas gifts. In addition to all the value pack, in addition to all the teachings, in addition to all the time that we've committed to this, this is what I am giving for the next 9 hours. Persons that take action, you are going to get it at this price. And if you understand the value of what we've unleashed here, in fact, I'm going to share with you a testimonial from one of my friends who is a prompt expert. He told me that in his life, he is never going to teach this for free. But for persons who are very discerning, that the information they are getting today is so much valuable. Are we together? So he has already consented that what we are discussing here, what we are sharing here is so valuable. So you already know that what you are getting for, the value you are getting for this price is just so much value. Are we together? Now, the third package is the most interesting one. After 9 hours, these prices resort back to 10,000 and 15,000 naira. So once it is 6:01 a.m., you are not going to get it at this price again. You won't get it at 5,000 and 9,500 respectively. You get it at 10,000 and 15,000. For those of us that are interested, it is optional. Are we together? So this is the important one. Now, for the Thesis Titan package, you are going to get 3 months of hands-on mentorship. You are going to ask me anything from now till the end of March, and I'm going to respond within a 24-hour timeline. Yes, so that is my assurance to you. You'll get responses as prompt as possible. Now, secondly, you're also going to get access to advanced classes on proper humanization of research, citation, and referencing using these different tools. How many of us have heard of Zotero and Mendeley? It's mostly common in the medical field. But then, one of the things that you can do with these is that it will help you arrange your citations and also help you identify which citations are fake or original. Now, another thing that I'm also going to give in this package is that you are going to get access to prompts that will help you identify knowledge gap, and also my book on strategies for effective project defense. Lastly, you also get access to a community, the first of its kind, a private one where you will have access to all the new updates on research writing as well as AI tools. Now, the total value of these is 144,000. But then that's crazy because for me, having already told you that paying 50,000 to a ghostwriter is not a good option. Imagine charging times 3. It is not wise. So what am I going to do? For the next 3 hours from now till 12 a.m., this is the price you are going to get this. Everything for the next 3 months. Now do the maths. 3 months is 90 days. For the next 90 days, what you would only be paying for this, you will be saving 60% from the original amount you would pay a ghostwriter. Are we together? And in addition to that, you are going to get equitable skills that you can monetize as well. Yes, I'm not going to leave you stranded or leave you empty. No, it's not about your money, it's about empowering you. So if this is an offer that interests you, a link will be shared now, and you are going to get more information on how to go about it. So this is it. After 3 hours, the price returns to this. So after 3 hours, the price becomes 30,000. for the next 24 hours. So today is 29th. After 3 hours, it becomes 30,000. And from 12 a.m. of tomorrow till 11:59, the price will be 30,000. After that, the price will go to 60. This is the best possible deal you are going to get for 3 months. Are we together? So that is it. So which students are you going to be for the next 9 hours and the next 3 hours? It's your choice. Like I said, it is optional. And if you consider the value you've gained in these 3 classes, you can imagine what is in store for you. You can imagine having that structure where you are not going to have to stress about anything. Everything is just in place for you. All you have to do is a little critical thinking, and voila, you have your project in place. Are we together? So take action now. I'm going to be sending the links in the group chat now, and after that, you decide on which package you are going to want. So at this point, permit me to appreciate each and every one of you for sticking with me. 3 incredible days of sharing value, 3 days of rubbing minds together. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you very much for your time. I want to specially acknowledge many persons here who have made this event possible. My host and my mentor, Bro Emeka Christian, he was here. He is here with us all 3 days, and he provided access to the recording. So it is on this note I want to say a big thank you to you. Thank you so much, sir, for being available. Thank you so much for making this a success. And I also want to give appreciation to my future-proof mentorship team. Most of them are not here, but in all things, behind the scenes, they also made it a very fruitful one. And lastly, I want to also thank my moderator, Sister Rosemary. Of course, she's here with us as well. She has also played a very strong role. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to everyone who reposted, who shared all the contents, all the posts for this webinar, I want to also say a big thank you. You made this possible. If you weren't here, I'll be talking to myself alone. So thank you for listening to me, and I hope to see you succeed in your project defense. Cheers once again, and good night. Thank you.
So, sir, I assume that questions will continue in the WhatsApp group, right? Any questions?
Yes.
To the WhatsApp group?
Yes,
right?
yes. The questions will be dropped in the WhatsApp group.